Wait for me, you're gonna die. No, we can win.
Protect me.
We can win.
We can win.
No flash.
Save me, save me, save me.
No flash. I'm tipping, let's go.
Go. Good fight.
Go is good, go is good.
Nice.
Go! I speed. Caitlyn, no flash.
No flash.
Go is good.
Go for Caitlyn.
Try is good.
Oh, it's amazing to hear how excited Vitality are. Welcome back to the UOL studios here in Berlin. Remember, we'll be heading to Hamburg on the 22nd and 23rd of April for our Spring Split Finals and third place match. Head to eu.lolesports.com for more information on how you can get your hands on some tickets. A second wave has been opened up.
Normally, that's not how we like teams to sound, but that's how we're enjoying listening to Vitality. Clear now, the pressure's off. Of course, they're locked in 4th place. Summer Split spot is there for them already. Unfortunately, can't make it to playoffs, so they're just going to try and, you know, have a little bit of fun.
Stress, you said it in game 1 of this series, how Vitality at the beginning of the day, they're very calm, relaxed, they're having fun.
Yeah.
They were playing 1v1s and like yelling at each other. I believe Hachani actually won one of the 1v1s for the first time, if I understood that rollout correctly. And it's just nice to hear that Vitality are in very good spirits. They are coming back in summer. They played a redonkulous team composition in game 1. Camille top, Shaco jungle, TF mid.
Incoming Shaco ban.
And they decided to play a little bit of baseball and throw the game as well.
Oh, you know? That Baron call.
Overcommitting at the Baron.
They had such a good lead, which, I mean, Vitality, that's the kind of thing. If they can get that kind of lead, maybe they can look to close this without making that decision to go to Baron. Unicorns of Love were desperate to punish Vitality at any moment with that Hecarim where you just run through them in the team fights.
Yeah, of course, as we jump into picks and bans, Unicorns of Love have side selection on game 2, and they chose red side. So that is why we see the same side selection once again. A slight pivot in terms of bans here. Vitality banning the Cassiopeia. Unicorns of Love taking the Lee Sin off the table once again.
Are they planning to, like, first pick something like a Vladimir? I hope. I mean, I don't hope not, but that would not be particularly meta here. Of course, Cassiopeia is one of the matchups that typically does well scaling alongside the Vladimir.
I'm not going to predict, or even I'm not even going to throw my 2 cents in.
That's true.
It's not worth 2 cents, and also you just don't know with Vitality anymore. Really do not know. As a reminder, if Unicorns pick up this game win, they guarantee themselves the #1 seed. And we'll go into the postseason, straight to the semifinals, and more importantly, they guarantee an appearance at Hamburg, regardless of what happens in the semis.
Yeah, and of course, that's the all-important one would be that they would dodge G2 until a potential finals matchup is the side of that coin. As we're seeing what Kabashad's going to pick for the team.
Yeah, I mean, first pick on blue side. Huge grin on Cabo's face. He's trying so hard not to smile or laugh. Instead, going to do exactly the same first pick once again, Gragas. And, you know, talking about Hamburg, we mentioned the tickets, how they are available, second wave anyway. And when I spoke to Sheepy about, you know, qualifying for playoffs and looking to get to semis and to Hamburg, Sheepy and the UOL team and UOL family are from Hamburg themselves, so it means a lot for them to play there. And we've seen what sort of support they have in Berlin. I can only imagine what's going to happen in that stadium if even more people come out wearing the pink.
And it's been 2 years since they've been in a finals themselves here in Europe. Of course, made it in their first split. However, looking at this game, Rumble is the pickup in the first rotation. LeBlanc was in the first rotation for Unicorns of Love as well and is available should they want to go that way.
Exile had a really good game on that LeBlanc as well.
Yeah.
Really performed well. But, you know, there is a chance they're going to play this champion, actually. Unfortunately, not today. I can see Sheepy very, very stern, serious face on stage.
It's so weird to see the turnabout. That the Unicorns of Love are the ones that are getting these unorthodox picks played against them.
Yeah.
Speaking of orthodox picks, though, on the current patch, this Lucian, first time we saw it at a Samix last series when they were playing up against Place, had a pretty good series. Generally low depths, decent amount of damage, and his laning phase was pretty good. Might be difficult now into Caitlyn. Of course, Caitlyn does outrange Lucian by a significant amount, so that trading potential in lane is a little bit back and forth. And of course, Steelback had to pick something else because that Lucian wasn't available for him this game.
Well, you talked about Samex's Lucian. He's got a very low 23 KDA. He didn't die a single time.
Nope.
So 2 games played in that series. Very good. And we have some more fun. Okay, Yasuo's locked in. Cabochard has got a cheeky look on his face, so maybe this is going to be a top lane Yasuo. I don't know.
May very well be. Cabochard, I mean, a long time ago in Europe, we were seeing the Yasuo against Na in the top lane. But obviously you picked that into Na.
It is, but again, we might be assuming this is a Rumble in the jungle, right?
Right, that's
because
true.
game 1, we assumed was Rumble in the jungle. And the very last pick for Unicorns, they locked in Hecarim and decided to pull a fast one. So it'll be Malzahar once again for Hylissang. He had a decent performance in the previous game, bouncing back and helping UOL win those last few team fights. Joko's super chill.
He's like, it's okay, apparently I've got Gragas. Now, if this is Cabochard playing Yasuo, the last time he played it was in 2015 when he was on Gambit up against SK, and it was a win.
Wow.
So, 100% win record. That's the record that's on the line in this game if it ends up for Cabochard. But we've seen a couple of other picks now. Support taken away from Hachani. That Blitzcrank's still there. Maybe we'll see him bring that out like he did against HCK.
I mean, okay, we need some sort of magic damage. All right, I'm going to put my serious hat on for a moment. We got AD Caitlyn, AD Yasuo.
So you go AP Blitzcrank.
AP Blitzcrank?
Go Lich Bane. It's like A-Ramp. That's how you...
I'm down with that. I'm down with that. In the previous game, for anybody that was watching those last few minutes, 21 kills happened in the last 5 minutes of gameplay. That was from the top lane dive to the Baron fight to the base fights. And I literally ran out of words. Now let's hope we get the same level of action this time around. And Unicorns might just run the same type of comp. I mean, it's Lucian instead of Varus, but everything else is looking pretty comfy.
I would say, like, my mid lane matchups aren't the best, but I probably wouldn't want to run Yasuo into LeBlanc because she can just distort through the wind wall. So interesting to see how this comes about, whether the mid lane is where that Yasuo is going for Nuke Duck instead. We saw the Blitzcrank hover. It's going to be the Alistair coming for Hachani. So Caitlyn, Alistair, I mean, if you can connect with the Q flash, get that trap down underneath, very hard lane to play through. But this Alistair in response to Malzahar is something we've seen a couple of times now.
Yeah.
Deals pretty good, blocking the shield, breaking it, and then pulverizing.
Trying to get some of that CC down. I mean, if you can use the Alistair to get some CC, the trap follow-up is good. But Vitality, mid lane or top lane?
They're doing it again.
What is it going to be? Oh, but now I'm confused.
Vitality don't want it either. Hachani lugged it for Joko, and Cabochard threw his hands to his head because now he's stuck playing Gragas, and Nuke Duck gets the Yasuo.
Oh, my word. Okay, so Shaco once again. Gragas top lane, Yasuo mid into LeBlanc. Does Vizicachi run Riven into Gragas? No, it's going to be the Camille instead. So still going to be a carry, and it'll be Xerxes with Rumble in the jungle.
Well, we got a couple of fun things in this one. Vitality going for the solo carry or die trying one with Nuke Duck on Yasuo. It's very different from that Twisted Fate. We'll have to see whether Nuke Duck's Yasuo is still got what it takes now. He's up against Exiles LeBlanc. We'll have to watch this matchup as we go into game. It's not one we see in competitive often at all.
It's so tough, and I guess if Exile can reposition around that wind wall, then those chains and shatter orbs can do so much damage. But on the same token, Nuke Duck's going to have a lot of mobility with his sweeping blade. That E keeps dashing in and out of minions, trying to dodge around. So we're going to have another fun, explosive matchup, damage for days across almost every single lane. Cabo's going to be on that traditional tank up in the top lane. What do you think of Camille into Gragas?
Should be able to bully that Gragas fairly heavily later on into the game. Early game, maybe not quite the same setup here. Obviously, Gragas can cask Camille out of the ultimatum if he saves it for it. So there is one escape route potentially for Cabochard. Interesting matchups all across the board, though. Yeah,
and it's going to come down to mechanical execution. Ladies and gentlemen, hashtag VIT win or hashtag UOL win. This is the last series of the split for both Vitality and the Unicorns of Love. If you want to see another crazy game 3, you desperately want Vitality to pick this one up. Maybe it's just a third Shaco game. Maybe, you know.
I would want to see a third Shaco game.
Well, let's find out. Shaco's in the audience. He's wearing UOL colors, but he's playing for Vitality. We're loading up as the Unicorns are 1 win away from a quarterfinal bye and a berth into the semifinals.
We mentioned Cabochard's 100% win rate on Yasuo. Guess who else has got one?
Tell me.
It's Nukeduck. 3 games for Nukeduck in 2015 on Yasuo when he was on Roccat. See if you can best Exile.
Oh, so difficult. Unicorns grouping themselves up for a potential sort of invade or vision invade. And I'm going to go back to what you mentioned, Stress, right at the end of that picks and bans. As the Shaco was locked in, Cabochard and all of Vitality threw their arms in the air. Joko almost surprised. Hichani either trolling or missing a joke, I don't know. You know, pick me Shaco, okay, lock in, no! We'll have to hear from our observer team and our production team if they can give us a little clip of that. And yeah, we're gonna look at these skill matchups. I mean, Gragas can outplay the Camille to survive at least with the ulti.
Yeah, and I think later on that becomes a lot more difficult because Camille doesn't necessarily need the ultimate later.
Yes.
Mid lane, as we said, we're gonna have to watch this one. The interactions between Yasuo and LeBlanc specifically.
Oh no! Hylissang's pulling a Hichani. Got the passive, it's about to get popped. Where's the CC? Knocked into the air. Steelback's looking to flash forward. Puts the trap down. First blood picked up by Hichani.
Oh, Hylissang. It was all looking not too bad up until the fail flash. It was gonna be okay. Hylissang looked like maybe he was out. But nevertheless, first blood once again goes over to Vitality. Hylissang pushing into the enemy jungle. 3 summoners used on the side of Vitality. All of Hylissang's, which could get punished in lane if we see it, but Steelback did have to flash to get some of those traps down and get that extra damage.
Yeah, double flashes expended on the side of Vitality's bottom lane. Well, it's not going to stop Hichani going aggressive. Now Samix is moving up. Joko's going to take a piercing light before he uses the deceive out. The army of crabs chasing Hichani, but no further follow-up.
And here you go, a very different start to what a Shaco normally would do. Normally you box your own jungle and get that first camp very safely. Well, Xerxes on this Rumble jungle, in response, goes right up to the blue buff, is going to take it away, equal the buff start for this game.
Right, ends up being a trade, I guess.
Yep.
Obviously, Xerxes going to have some support from Visit Chachi as Chachi's pushing into Cabo. Joker's going to pick up his red buff. Takes quite a bit of damage, though, this time round. And yeah, I guess we just have to see how these lanes play out, because actually Cabo and Chachi, they're pretty even as Xerxes setting up for gank middle.
Yeah, Chachi will be able to get quite a lot of farm early on with that tactical sweep and the ability to trade into Cabochard, but now Cabochard's level 3 might be able to trade it back. Nukeduck dashes forward.
Oh, very good wind wall. There's support from Joko. Joko is going to turn his attention to Exile. 2-shift poison comes out, but the overheat, the threat and the minions are too high. Joko and Nukeduck back away. Exile used his flash.
Yeah, Exile. Nukeduck uses, oh, hang on, goes in.
Oh, a lot of damage. There's no exhaust. Ignite, remember. Because now Nukeduck, he takes that one. He's forced to back away. Cabochard takes a lot of damage, flashes away to save his life.
Just survives that. Cabochard really struggling on these trades early on and lost so much health already. Hichani goes in.
Oh, let's just fight. Why not? Built over Peacemaker flies across the UOL bottom lane.
Oh.
But look at the army of Voidlings chasing down Steelback and Hichani. That melee support going to have a difficult time against the army that Hylissang can muster.
Yeah, TP comes back up top lane from Cabochard now, so we'll see whether Chachi can pressure him out again. This time Joko's on the top side, may end up seeing some jungle assistance top lane. It's all been mid lane so far in the assistance from the junglers. No one has died mid, though. The only kill so far, that one kill on Hylissang to start the game.
Yeah, 1 kill from Hilly roaming. Now, Joko, he meant this gank work in game number 1. He's going to try it again, but with hookshot and flash, Vizichachi's going to have more tools. And Joko, very big impact in the early game.
Yeah.
100% kill participation for the first few kills. Yes, he was obliterated in farm, but look at that kill participation.
Yeah, that kill participation really making it a difficult time for Unicorns in the early game. Xerxes would eventually kind of even up a lot of that later on. That gank, however, went alright for Joko because he deceived right into a ward.
Right.
In fact, he jumped over into a ward, I think using a blast plant, and then tried to deceive up into the lane, but obviously was spotted the entire duration of that, so had to be very careful. Chachi didn't get fooled this time, had his flash available. Obviously, Camille a little bit easier to get out of harm's way as well with that hook shot, with that flash, as you were talking about.
Yeah, and of course, passive shield blocking some damage as we take a little bit of a flight down memory lane.
Ride.
We were looking at the vision that UOL do not have into Vitality's jungle. But one thing I want to highlight, Stress, Nukeduck plus 10 CS. The fact that Exile has no flash and he was ganked early on. Nukeduck's playing very aggressively, using that E to push the wave out, dash through and wind wall to block any sort of trading pattern, even some of the CS pattern as well.
Yeah, and then you have to look at what is coming soon, you would imagine, with that exhaust coming back up sooner than Ignite. Maybe that's an opportunity for Nukeduck to actually pick up a kill here if he can. Not likely to get that tornado onto Exile from afar. LeBlanc just way too mobile. Will dodge that out as well. When you're on a low ping environment, it tends to be fairly easy to sidestep those longer range skill shots. But if Nukeduck can like flash in, get that Q maybe with a dash, that's where Exile has to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Make it that little bit more sort of melee range. Well, nevertheless, Vitality, again, they pick up first blood. They have an early advantage, but I think they have a team composition that favors that style of play a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, Rumble really wants to get to 6. Camille wants to get to 6. Similarly for Malzahar, before you can really start looking for some of those kills.
And that's a lot of kill threat that comes the other side of 6, right? When you look at it, like flash ult from Hylissang is enough to really set somebody up. Nukeduck, he has hit 6, wants to go aggressive.
But that Steel Tempest charged up. We hold our breath, waiting for it. Now, luckily for Nukeduck, he's got some support. Both Cabo and Achani can set him up for those multi-man knockups. Joko's trying to contest this ward here as Exile could distortion over. Joko, very high jungle proximity, 50% of his time. Equalizer's available for Xerxes, he can put it down. May need to do it defensively. There's the last breath onto Exile, he goes down! Nukeduck picks up the kill. Hachani saves Xerxes' life, and all of a sudden Joko's being burnt. The Malefic Visions hops, bops over to Hachani. He's exhausted, slowed down. The silence, the missiles, the body block from Nukeduck, saving Hachani's life.
Oh, good guy Nukeduck decides he wants to play support for Hachani for just a moment there. We saw a game out of support from him before, but body blocks takes out that last Voidling so that Hachani doesn't die. Nukeduck, we were looking at this Yasuo. How well would he be able to do? Well, he's outplayed Exile a couple of times already in this game.
Gonna need to keep doing that one. Malefic Vision, Steel Tempest is available. Hylissang rather, continues to back away. Now Cabo shot, he's gonna turn this one around. Sheen on Sheen combat, but there's double Dorans for Cabo. A little bit of additional HP to work with. And yeah, I guess Hylissang's gonna be careful. If he brings those Voidlings up, it's another dash for Nukeduck to close the gap.
Yeah, and you can see that Exile didn't get the chains because of the first moment of the wind wall applying. Then Exile ends up getting taken down with that last breath. Nukeduck flashed in, and Hachani was here to start this fight basically, and then Hylissang roaming up is enough to turn it back around, but just this last moment, didn't quite see it, got baited.
Yeah.
Didn't catch the end of the replay.
Unfortunately not. We'll have to wait for the next time. Nukeduck again, instantaneous wind walls.
I guess there is the other side of this matchup where if you distort in with the LeBlanc, you probably get Steel Tempest to the face. Like the first one probably connects, you get a dash. Second Steel Tempest makes it very easy. So that's probably one aspect of this matchup that is difficult. If you can't hit the chains first on Nukeduck, it does make it difficult.
Especially because of the delay on that distortion. It just allows Nukeduck all of this breathing room to time his E's and his sweeping blades over and over.
The one thing that Yasuo always does have to play around is the fact that that wind wall is a high cooldown. So there is going to be a moment in the game where Exile will have his chains, the distortion, everything available when wind wall isn't. So that's one thing we're going to have to keep an eye on. It's 26 seconds at rank 1.
Very, very high. Exile is going to be deceived. Takes a 2-shift poison to the back. Distortion has been used. Jumps back to Joko. Nukeduck dashes through a Mimic, though. Doesn't find the correct target. Nether Grasp going to get used here. Joko's clone doing a lot of work. That's going to pop down some traps. That actually might cancel an exit path.
And nobody wanted to kill it, was the problem. Nobody wanted to get those triangular boxes down, take the damage from it. It's not AP Shaco though, so it's not, it's not like you lose all your health by it dying.
Not at all. All right, now all of a sudden, Hylissang's the target. Exhaust is available to him. He throws down the ulti on Joko. Can't get interrupted for a while. Joko survives a few seconds longer. Now Nukeduck looking for a target. Hachani should be able to get this onto Hilly.
Oh, the heal.
Gonna keep chasing. Summon a heal and a dash. Hachani gets the knock up and kill secured by Nukeduck. Double buffs as well. Last breath has been used. Nukeduck needs to back away. Windwall buys a few seconds extra. Now Steelback has joined the fray. Nukeduck's locked in place by the chains. The exhaust slows down the damage from Xerxes. And let's throw a teleport in the mix. Cabo's on the board. He takes down Xerxes.
Vitality again with a strong early game. It's enough to get a small lead, but this time, following the fight down, Nukeduck is able to get the damage down, survived up against a lot of that LeBlanc damage that ended up coming through. Ace in the hole gets blocked out. Samux takes that one, as Steelback was trying to delay the recall of Exile so that Nukeduck could push in this mid lane in response.
That kill for Caboshard could be so pivotal. He was down 20 CS. And let's take a look at the replay.
So this is the engage onto Hylissang that would start it all. You can see Joko still at the mercy of being fairly low health. You can see he tried to get a little bit of health back as he was attacking Exile down, but Hylissang, good guy Samux with the heal to save him for a while, but it was enough to have Hachani and Nukeduck finish off that fight, and Samux couldn't quite get the damage out at first. Good wind wall again. Nukeduck's been on point with those, blocking out a lot of the chains that come through. And Vitality bring in Caboshard and bring home another kill.
And that ends up giving Vitality 4 total kills on the game. Double buffs for Nukeduck, red buff for Caboshard, and Caboshard's going to be the recipient of a gank. Equalizer and Hextech Ultimatum are a few seconds from cooldown. Unicorns need this one to play out. The hook shot finds no CC, but it gets the flash.
Yeah, Caboshard looked like he was trying to just walk away from that one, but got minion blocked on the way out. Had to flash, but at the same time, probably would have had to have flashed from that gank, as the hook shot would have caught him, but still frustrating for Caboshard. Nevertheless, survives, has that kill to his name, building towards that Iceborne Gauntlet. We've seen a lot of Gragas do that up in that top lane.
Yeah, it makes so much sense as well against Camille in the side lane. Caboshard's going to go toe-to-toe. Chachi's passive blocks some of that damage, but not a huge amount. Very good sidestep. Here comes Hachani for the tower dive. Flash already used.
Oh, he got the slow.
And the kill secured. Hachani 201.
Hachani picking up the kills himself, doesn't want anybody else getting them. You can see what Caboshard and Chachi were looking at there. Like, Chachi was trying to take the trade aggressively, but underestimates the damage that comes from Caboshard with that Sheen proc, with the W from Gragas and Drunken Rage. Difficult to deal with.
Who gets tower first blood? Unicorns. They were on mid lane earlier. Few seconds off the pace. Okay, Vitality, they don't seem to be backing away. They've got a minion wave to work with Stress, and Vitality, 3-man stack in the top lane. They're going to keep this one up.
And this is where Joko, playing this melee jungler, is able to actually output a lot of damage on the tower at the same time. It's safe as long as nobody's there, but Hylissang's here.
Oh, Joko's going to get caught out. Locked in place by the ultimatum. The equalizer puts the damage down. Caboshard used his ultimate earlier, remember. Can't disengage, and Unicorns get 2.
And that was a 4 versus 3 for the Unicorns, because Unicorns were pushing bot lane at the same time. Samux taking the tower down, and we're in a similar situation to game 1, where Vitality have been earning these leads with active plays, getting as much as they can, and Unicorns just undo 1 or 2 slight overstays from Vitality and take the objectives in their favor.
All right, objective. Oh, wow, that was great.
Out he goes.
Chachi uses that hook shot to alley-oop his way out. Okay, stops to kill a ward. This is greedy. Ace in the hole. Starts to get channeled. Here comes Hachani. He's got some Moby boots.
He's trying to run him down.
Gets the knock up. Ignite is burning. The passive shield comes up, but it won't stop Ignite. And Hachani's on a killing spree.
It was greedy. It was greedy. You said it.
Now let's see. Joko, can he survive? Now we'll turn the attention. It's Xerxes. Can he survive?
Nukeduck wants to go.
Everybody wants to go. Joko's running out of his jungle. A Brambleback still aggroed, and a blast code allows UOL to escape.
Is Nukeduck gonna steal this? I thought he was for a second there. So, Unicorns, the game has now calmed down a little as they've backed away. We're going to take another look at how that top lane went. I meant in that moment.
Touche.
It certainly picked up pace with this play on the top lane with the Unicorns going aggressive, punishing Vitality, overstaying. And Unicorns get a couple of kills, transition it into more objectives again. Bot lane, they got that tower to start it all off. They've looked so good on the objective game when Vitality have been trying to drag them into scrappy fights.
Yes. 2 days ago, we had a couple of Unicorns members talking about how, as a team, they are playing more meta as time goes on. Their macro, their team play, their vision game, everything is getting better this split. And there's a strong argument to be made that this is the best Unicorn squad that we've ever seen.
Sure.
And I think you can have that debate at length, right? Now, I'm going to preface all of that before I say the following. Vitality are trying to beat Unicorns by opting into a team fight heavy, crazy picks, chaotic style of gameplay.
Yep.
Something with which Hilly and Chachi are exceptionally well aware. Now, this time around, Nukeduck should go down fairly easily here, locked inside the cage. But Unicorns of Love, they are one of, if not the best, fighting teams in the league. And Vitality are trying to go blow for blow with it.
And that's the thing, is you're trying to beat 2015 Unicorns against 2017 Unicorns who have gone through all of this and improved past it. No longer is it, can we win a game by playing Yorick Cassiopeia? Answer's yes. That was 2015. A lot of teams have grown on their strategic thinking and the way that players adapt to certain situations in the game, looking for different priorities on objectives, how you set up objectives, vision control. All of these things are much more prevalent in the 2017 season than they were in 2015. Yep. And that's why it only works for so long. I love seeing Vitality try it, though. It's wonderful to watch.
It is entertaining to watch, that is for sure. And unfortunately for Vitality, they are 2,000 gold down and a dragon. Unicorns are up 2 towers as well. I'm looking down the CS. They've got advantages in every single lane. And again, Xerxes is on a farming mission. He's got some towers and some kills to his name. Up 1,200 gold. But both games, really effective use of his jungle camps and you know, farming pattern, that Hecarim in the previous game, and now the Rumble this time around. And
that's one thing that really you have to commend, and is one of the reasons why perhaps the Unicorns have looked so good. In the 2.5 years now at the end of this split, in the LCS, they haven't had a jungler for much more than a split. They're always cycling through, and some have been great, some are still in this game, as Joko played a couple of games in the Unicorns Club, but I think Xerxes is the one that's found his own the most here with stabilized Unicorns. Like, he's been able to be a big presence in just about every game. Very few games do I feel like Xerxes has not shown up.
I agree with that entirely, and I think, you know, Samux is one of those guys that is a little bit not talked about when you look at the UOL squad. He's had solid laning performances in CSD, and, you know, he's a reliable player on the team. And I can't wait to see how Unicorns play in the playoffs, because they're guaranteed top 2 with a win here, which is looking likely. They're going to take that #1 seed.
He's coming.
All right, engage from Hachani. Doesn't find the pulverize correctly. Teleport coming down from Cabo Shard. Visit Chachi's late to the fight. Samux is the target. The barrel sends him to safety. That's not what Vitality wanted. Nukeduck gets locked inside the ultimatum, and Nukeduck is down. Unicorns turn to 5-on-3 around. It's a double kill for Chachi. He's not done. A triple. He can look for more. Hachani's the target. This might be the quadra, and scumbag Xerxes stole the penta.
Unicorns with a clean team fight turnaround, and the last game came from a Baron attempt. This time it was a team fight from Vitality. Chachi just says, don't worry about me staying alive. I'll fall. Unicorns will push down more turrets. It's so early in the game. We're only 18 minutes in, so 10 seconds means this isn't going to be an inhibitor tower. But Unicorns coming out massively ahead. I like the play setup from Vitality. Get the TP in, try and start this fight. The problem is Unicorns have already set up the ward for the rest of the team to join. In fact, Chachi had TP'd back in through the jungle. And Hylissang, Samux, and Xerxes bought enough time that when Chachi and Exile showed up, they already had won the fight. It was an easy cleanup, and Chachi just a monster on this Camille.
Wow, quadra kill to close it out, and yeah, Joko can feel it. Now, that face from Vizicachi is because Xerxes stole the pentakill, okay? That's what that face was about. And I hope they can comment on it on social media later today. 20 minutes in, Baron is an objective. I think Unicorns can peel away from Baron and set up kills very easily if they want to play around this objective.
Yeah, now Chachi on the bottom side is going to, oh, dodge past.
So nicely done.
Just styling. Just styling.
So nicely done. Romain and UOL Dad, of course, in the audience with a win here, semi-finals. Guaranteed performance at Hamburg. Steelback gets caught up by the Nethergrasp, and UOL maybe a little over-eager. Very good equalizer on the back end. That's going to burn down Joko. Cabo gets a reply back. Both junglers are down. Hillesang's down as well. Talk about the caster curse. We just show the UOL support staff. And Unicorns lose the fight.
Oh, no, they don't, because Chachi's here as well. Gabushan knows he's a gunner. Ends up getting caught on the back end from Chachi, finally getting to the fight. And Unicorns, now they look to do damage to the inhibitor towers. Every fight has gone their way. It started like it looks to be Vitality's favor, but Vitality just cannot survive through.
Well, Nuketo's going to look for revenge. He's down 2 levels. Vizicachi dodged the Steel Tempest last time round with that ultimate of his. The ultimatum hook shot. I think that was body blocked, actually. Chachi unable to get over the wall. Nukeduck, last breath available. Pulls
he
the
goes
trigger,
in.
but here comes Exile. And Shani and Steelback did not support him. Very big smiles on the side of Nukeduck.
Nukeduck laughing along with that. Knew that he was already dead by the time he fired the Steel Tempest tornado out. Exile might be in trouble here.
Okay, Exile's going to be able to dash away with that distortion. Stress. It feels like the inevitable.
Yeah.
UOL will close this out. It's the manner in which they do it that we will enjoy.
And I don't think Vitality are bothered at all. You can see the player cameras. They're having a lot of fun in this game now. They know that, unfortunately, the window on this particular game is closed, and therefore this is the last game of their season or split for spring. Unicorns is basically a formality now, but...
Yes. And I think the biggest thing is, you know, if you are a Vitality supporter and you want these players to do well, is figuring out how do you unlock these players with more serious comps when they're not knocked out of the league. Hillesang's gone down, but he takes a Chani with him. And Vitality were able to respond and defend that top outer turret, which is still standing, by the way. There's an outer turret remaining, not for much longer, as UOL have now committed to the tower.
Now that's a really good question when you look at it. Nukeduck's going to try and weave his way back out of it.
Good flash, hits out of vision.
Everyone on Vitality is watching him, and along with the crowd just went, ooh, getting out of that. So Vitality focused on things. How do you unlock players like this? That's such a $1 million question, really, is how do you tell somebody the pressure's not on when actually they're playing almost every time for their career, because every win, every loss adds up. And that's why we've seen teams put a lot of emphasis on support staff. Samuk's now caught.
All right, body slam flash finds Samux. Nukeduck is burned down inside the ultimatum. Never got a chance to use that last breath. Now Joko's gonna get burnt. A cinder as Samux takes him down. 2-0-6, and Unicorns, they're just running away. It's a 10K gold lead. And maybe the Baron is going to be the objective.
Yeah, of course, one team that may not quite be laughing as much as Vitality and Unicorns on this one would be H2K. This, of course, was an important result for them. If Vitality had been able to take down the Unicorns, it would have had playoff implications on that semi-finals bye. But with this Baron taken, Unicorns have basically locked their spot.
Yeah, they absolutely have. Equalizer starts to burn down Steelback. He uses a good 90 caliber net, but the Ignite takes him down. Caboshot is in a duel with Vizicachi, and the rest of Unicorns join the fight. We're nearing the end of the game, and this is where you start thinking, how on earth do you award Player of the Series? And I think it has to be Xerxes. I think his Hecarim farm and his turnaround at Baron the previous game, this game, Rumble, he's hit every single equalizer, but like, goodness, how do you possibly pick a single person?
I thought you were going to say Joko. I thought for a moment that you were going that way, but...
No, it is April Fool's. I'm not going to go that far.
Nah, that's fair. That's fair. Unicorns, I mean, as you said, how do you pick one? Xerxes, that game one, the turnaround was a lot more dramatic than this game has been. It was a lot more impactful on the setup of that fight.
Look at the damage. Shatter Orb, where is it? Exile's looking for the target. He wants Joko, and Exile takes him. Actually, Xerxes got him.
it.
You see?
Player of the series.
Player of the series. There we go. That's simple.
Write it in.
He killed Shaco.
Stats team, you got the vote. You don't even need to hear from us later.
Nukeduck, can he kill Hylissang? There's support from Samux. Nukeduck's not done. Exhaust goes out to the Samux. The wind wall is doing so much. That wind wall blocked everything. And Samux culls Nukeduck where he stands. But Chani gets his 4th kill of the game, taking down Exile.
Chachi's playing PB down on the bottom lane.
34 kills in 25 minutes. That's going to be the summary. Hashtag 34 kills, the dream.
Well, Chachi finally gets an inhibitor. Unicorns have been looking for this for so long right now. And what a split the Unicorns have had on the regular split. This is their final game of the 10-week split. I mean, coming into this, we were thinking Samux a last-minute addition once, you know, Veritas had left the team on very short notice. We were wondering how this team would perform, and they have, week in, week out, shown that they are in the upper echelons of the European LCS.
No doubts about it. Unicorns of Love now guaranteed that spot in the semi-finals. 15,000 gold up. Vitality have families, Unicorns. What are you doing to them?
Honestly, a lot of this is what Vitality are doing to themselves. Constantly going aggressive, constantly looking for fight. Chani wants to go.
He does. Hylissang's the only target of the last breath. That's not enough. Equalizer dissuades any further impact, and Joko's locked down by the Nether Grasp. Xerxes on a rampage, killing the Shaco once again. For solo queue players all around the world, Yasuo and Shaco are down.
It's the biggest record we were tracking today, Trevor. The 100% win rate on the Nukeduck's Yasuo is gone.
Also, paging stats team. Good luck explaining this game in the context of a season, because this throws the averages out of whack. It can really, really fiddle those things up. Unicorns of Love get themselves yet another ace. More than 1 kill a minute. Inhibitor is down, and they're looking for more stress.
They're going to crush this one. Samux again, no deaths on this Lucian. Unicorns looking fantastic.
Unicorns of Love are looking for 1 more kill on Joko just before they take down the Nexus. Joko survives a few seconds longer. The Nexus is turned on, and the Unicorns of Love guaranteed semi-finals, guaranteed going to Hamburg. The fans, the local crowd here in Berlin, it is a sea of pink. Sheepy and Roma on stage. They wanted Hamburg. They wanted to make it all the way. And they've dodged G2 Esports by getting that quarterfinal bye, by going straight to the semifinals.
Now I'm just so looking forward to seeing out of the 4 teams that will be in the quarterfinals, who's going to end up drawing Unicorns. That's a long way away. We've got so much League of Legends before that, but it's going to be a fun series.
And of course, Stress. We know now that H2K are locked in 2nd place, and they will play either Fnatic or Roccat. Right? In order for Fnatic to lose their spot in the quarterfinals, Roccat need to beat G2 today. And Fnatic need to lose tomorrow. That would cost Fnatic the quarterfinal bye. That's what Roccat need. So for Fnatic, they're hoping that G2 does them a solid and takes down Roccat today.
Yeah, that would be a monumental upset if Roccat actually could take it.
Sheepy, we'll see you in Hamburg. Talked about it on Thursday. Captain Sirius on stage.
And that's been the Unicorns all the way through the split, is they have been very serious, very focused.
Yeah.
As much as, you know, the branding over the last couple of years has been all about having fun and everything going in that kind of direction, this has been the best Unicorns. I don't think that is a particularly big argument against it.
It's not.
Unicorns, the best iteration we've seen.
It's very, very exciting. G2 and UOL, respective #1 in each of their groups at the end of regular season play. G2 still have a series to play, and tomorrow we're going to potentially see all 4 of the quarterfinalists. So there's still a couple of games to play. Unfortunately, no more standings implications outside of Fnatic and Rockout, right? So, and that is a big one.
Of course. Like, I think Rockout can do that. That's so interesting. But then if it is Fnatic in the playoffs, which is the most likely, tomorrow becomes a kind of a playoffs preview.
It does, yeah.
2 and 3 from Group A, play 2 and 3 from Group B, like internally inside the groups. Very interesting setup for tomorrow's game.
And I wonder if we'll see some Shaco or Yasuo or Twisted Fate. I don't know. No, I don't know. And I think I want to bring it to a little bit more serious before we go to an interview. Vitality, it's a disappointing split. You know, they never found their groove.
Sure.
They never found their identity. They had GBM on the roster the entire time. He played 1 series with him, and he looked good in the mid lane.
Yeah.
And Nukta and support left something to be desired, but...
Especially when you look at the names that came in, Cabochard, Steelback, Nuktak, we were like, okay, this is the kind of team that maybe can look to perform. I think the end of the split has shown that when expectations dipped, they still at least held strong. And now maintaining their spot for summer, we saw some improvements out of Vitality over the last few weeks. So maybe they can make a run in the summer split instead. But for now, their spring is over.
It is indeed. And it's going back to the drawing board, you know. Yesterday we had Froggen on the show, and he was talking about how a little bit of off period and then looking at boot camp ahead of summer. Froggen with Echo Fox, of course, in a similar position. Disappointing split. And it's just a matter of rebuilding and figuring out what to fix and setting your sights on summer split and a stronger performance.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a fun series from Vitality, going out with a bang, though.
It absolutely has. It was April Fool's Day. It is Slumber Party, and there was no ways you could slumber through that series. Stress, that's enough for us. Let's head over to talk to UOL's Chachi and the player of the series, see what they have to say.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. I am pleased to be joined by Xerxes from the jungle, VIT from the top lane, and the now locked in first place Unicorns of Love. So let's just go there. How does it feel to be first place in Group B, no contest?
Well, this was a really important series for us to keep our first place, and even though Vitality kind of took it a bit easier, we couldn't really afford to do so because we needed the win to secure our first spot. And it was really important for us because this guarantees us a spot into the semifinals and kind of like puts us as the #2 seed behind G2.
All right, well, looking ahead, or actually rather looking back at that series, we can talk about the playoffs more in a second, but Shaco jungle coming up both times. Now, Xerxes, as a jungle main, jungle player here on the state, what did you think when that pick first got locked in?
I mean, it wasn't that surprising because there were like 5 or 6 junglers banned, and I was prepared from the solo queue because there are a lot of Shaco players, so it wasn't something new for me.
Okay, not new from a solo queue perspective. So completely and totally unfazed. Were you ready with strategies, with talking to your team, or were you okay and the rest of the team maybe not so much?
I think we were okay, and I played Shaco in scrims, so we kind of know what the champion does and what his weaknesses are.
All right, absolutely fair. You say that, Vizichachi, you still went down in the early game. How did it feel for you to go up against kind of all these unconventional picks, not just the Shaco in general?
Yes, I think for Xerxes it was okay, but for me it's not really because I was playing a champion without his capabilities, and I was ready that I will just get camped. But that's kind of Rumble's strength as well, that even if he gets camped, he can just ultimate the wave and be ahead in tempo with the team. So getting a def or 2 is like acceptable. But the early def was totally my fault because I didn't expect him to take our red. I thought after our blue he just goes the enemy red, and that caught me off guard.
All right, so a little adaptation throwing you off. Well, the game is done, it's dusted. You guys are now moving on to Hamburg. We've heard a lot from Sheepy about how much it means to him. What does it feel like for you guys knowing that you're going to be playing on that big stage? And for Cersei, massive stage for you, best of 5, how are you feeling?
Really excited, and I think we are ready for it, and I think we will do good.
All right. Now, Chachi, I mean, sometimes this feels like another day at the office for you. You've been playing for so long. You've seen so many of these large stages. Is there anything special that this one means to you, coming in with a bye straight into the semifinals?
I think it's going to be great in Hamburg because we have attended a few finals so far in our history, but a final we haven't played for quite a while, so I would really like to experience one and get there, like as a finalist and not for a third place match.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. Now I'm curious, you guys, sights set on the final. Who do you think is going to be your biggest competition in playoffs? If you do make it to the finals anywhere, which team other than yourselves is looking the strongest coming into this playoff bracket?
Without doubt, G2 is pretty strong right now. So I think they are the only opponent that we are kind of afraid of.
Yeah, all right. So outside of G2, I think it's fair to say, because I think everyone would agree with you when you say that G2 is the big terror, still the kind of the undisputed kings of Europe. Is there any other team that you think can really upset or surprise people going into playoffs? Or right now, do you think they pretty accurately reflect the standings?
I think H2K usually gets themselves together for playoffs, and they will look strong as well. Also, we struggled a bit with Splice 2 days ago, and they are quite a strong team as well. So I think these two have good chances, and Misfits depends what form they will get into for the playoffs, because they can be a really strong team or like a weaker one as well at the same time.
Now, looking really far ahead, let's say in the theoretical world where you guys are able to take first, where you're able to take on Europe, MSI, international events, not something we've really seen from the Unicorns of Love outside of the IEM circuit. Do you guys feel like you would be a good representative for Europe if you're able to make it to that international stage?
I think we would be, because we are really fast at adapting to the meta right now. And whoever gets the first place is kind of like deserves it, and is probably the strongest of the region. So if we could get the first place, that would mean that we are the strongest of the region. So we would be a good representative, I think.
All right, pulling it back to playoffs. Cersei, for you, this is the first massive stage for you in Europe. We've talked a little bit about how you feel already. Now I'm curious, is there a lot of pressure on you going into this to perform on a big stage? You've had a little experience at IEM, but are you at all nervous to be facing down all those fans in Hamburg?
I played in Turkey before it, and it was a really big stage. And I wasn't nervous back then, and I don't think I'll be nervous now.
All right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking the time to talk to me. Congrats again on locking in first place in Group B. But that's going to do it for us in this series. When we come back, it'll be G2 versus Roccat in our second series of the day. Don't go anywhere.
Care. Hey,
Oh, freaking! Oh my god!
Get boom!
Yeah!
Easy win!
Nukeduck's locked in place by the chains. The exhaust slows down the damage from Xerxes. Let's throw a teleport in the mix. Cabo's on the board. He takes down Xerxes. It's a double kill for Chachi. He's not done. A triple. He can look for more. Hachani's the target. This might be the quadra. And scumbag Xerxes stole the penta.
Yeah, go.
Oh.
Yeah, I can play.
Wow!
Survives a few seconds longer. The Nexus is turned on, and the Unicorns of Love guaranteed semi-finals, guaranteed